It's going to be a busy night tonight on Sportswire Radio because I'm going to be coming at you not once, not twice, but 3 times. And to kick things off is maybe the most hardcore opener that we're ever going to have here any night on Sportswire Radio in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters. And boy, our guest, he's definitely an icon. He's definitely an icon in our state. And he's got a championship match coming up here, which may or may not define or redefine his career coming up. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the personal history that he has with his opponents next weekend at Star Clash 7, the biggest show in NEW history. We're going to talk about how their careers have kind of been on this crash collision course for over 2 years, and it starts in the RWA in Rochester. I'll explain. We're going to talk about how we think about personal animosity and how it'll cloud someone's judgment, but we'll certainly talk about how this match will certainly once again favor the champions and what a run they've been on in these last few months. They've come right into NEW and they've certainly, well, let's just say, started a riot. They've caused plenty of havoc. And our guest has definitely shown why he's an icon. And he was, well, our first New York wrestler to be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Then last Friday, he was joined by a second New Yorker who certainly is no longer unwanted. And, well, he gave his own wanted opinions from his own right about this match. And we'll talk about a slew of it here, plus who knows whatever else. And what a night it's going to be here on Sportswire Radio. We kick things off here with our guest, a man that's been coming on and off this platform for the past 2 years. And then at 10 o'clock sharp, we have on the legendary frontman and bassist of King's X, the King's X, the band that famously played in Woodstock, not too far from where, well, our guest actually lives, Mr. Doug Pinnick, who's playing with Tool in 2 weeks from now. He came on this platform, and it's going to be playing with Tool in 2 weeks. He'll talk about that at 10 o'clock, and then 11 o'clock I'll be with the regular Sportswire Radio guys, but it's now time to get this show on the road here in style, because you want it here in the chat, our guest wants it, and I want it because, after all, I won't spoil it. Well, I'll spoil it for you anyway. Doug Pinnick kind of liked my introduction. So let's get this show on the road here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all wrestling matters. So we're without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show. He's certainly going to cause plenty of havoc tonight and next week at the historic NEW Star Clash 7. He's definitely proven to be an icon. An icon is the first New Yorker that's wrestled into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He is one half of the reigning, defending NEW Tag Team Champions of the World. His name is, simply put, Stefan. The champ is here, my friend. How are we doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm great. You were like,
winded
we're
a
going to
little
do this
bit
tonight.
now,
I'm like,
huh?
no, trust me. We're going to definitely do it. I was a little busy today because, well, you'll see at 10 o'clock when we had on the opportunity to speak with the one and only Doug Pinnick. But you're an important man in your own right. We were talking about this off the air. We have a lot to talk about here over the next 50 or so minutes because you've got a really big match. And let's just say it's going to come in here like a tornado. Now, lately here in New York, we've been dealing with frigid temperatures and snow-like conditions. But next Saturday, instead, in the historic NEW Star Clash 7, it's going to be tornado-like conditions because you, Stefan Havok, and your tag team partner, Rob O'Malley, are going to be defending those tag team championships against men that, well, you've traveled up and down the East Coast with. people that know you almost better than anybody in this circuit. They are certainly no longer unwanted, and they're wanting to take those tag team championships from you. So, Stefan, Havok, set the tables for us, and what can we expect next Saturday? Star Clash 7, you, Rob O'Malley against Shocky, King Shock, and Mickey Vargas for those NEW Tag Team Championships.
I mean, it's a tornado hardcore tag match. Just all hell is gonna break loose.
A term we've used here with you. Yep.
Man, I like I said before when we were talking, like I love those guys, and I know that there's some heat going on with my partner and some arguments at All Out War, but I mean, if you're coming after my belts, you're making things personal. Like I'm trying to tell you, man. I've been playing nice. I've been playing nice for a while. I'm struggling with it.
What are you struggling about for the audience in terms of the match and how physical it's going to be, how intense? Because, I mean, that's what you've done. I mean, I've known you now for over 2 years. I mean,
I feel like once it gets going, I can either go one way or the other, you know? Sometimes in those kind of matches, I kind of like lose myself a little bit. And the more and more I've been doing this and the more of those matches that I've been doing, I feel like I've been like almost losing myself a little more and more each time. I don't like necessarily like I mean, I've joked around or like I'm out for blood and stuff like that, but sometimes I think I'm literally out for blood.
Well, it's the 716 versus the 518. It's essentially upstate versus, I guess, sort of the southern tier, the Hudson Valley. So there's obviously territorial issues here at stake. But you've had an amazing run these past few months in NEW. And there's no question what you guys have done here, winning the tag team championships, keeping them. You know, it's been quite a journey. But these are two guys in King Shock and Mickey Vargas who they know you better than anybody's going to know you that's going to step foot in a ring with you. And I think that's where this is going to be extremely intriguing next Saturday.
I mean, me and Shock have wrestled at the Riot in the Ring last year.
We know the history. You guys opened it up. Yep.
Me and Mickey wrestled in New Jersey in WSW.
Yep, we spoke about that with Banks last week, Torrance Banks. Benjamin, I should say.
It's been nonstop, and I think this is probably I don't know. It's like,
all right, let me ask you a question. I know it's hard to put in words, but
at first it was for fun, you know what I mean? Right. Like, I go there, they'd go here, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, but like I said, I feel like it's gotten to the point where it's personal. And you're going to watch a fight. You're going to watch a fight on Saturday.
Oh, I think the whole card's going to be, it's going to be the equivalent of a, let's just say, pay-per-view action. NEW has been on fire lately. But, let's go back. Because in a small way, all of us are intertwined with each other. Because I was talking with Torrance Banks about this last Friday. And it goes back almost 2.5 years now. 2.5 years. It's kind of fitting, right? You're in NEW. I'm talking to you in NEW. Shocky, Vargas, Banks. All of us going back all these years later, we're talking about NEW because it all to me started in Rochester in this little company RWA, which, looking back wasn't that bad after all. Looking back, I went back and watched a lot of it. Me and Torrance Banks talked about it. And, maybe on this platform and to others in the underground wrestling circuit, maybe it got kind of a glance and maybe thumbs would use their thumbs to nose at it because of an individual who was a part of the company. But if you really went back and watched that product, he was only small.
The product was great.
The product was good. Yeah, the product was good. It reminded me of my guest coming on at 10 o'clock. Doug Pinnick of King's X, critically underrated band, band that's had big moments, but, the average person, glanced. And I think that's kind of, to me, what RWA is. We're going to look back from now, right? In a couple years from now, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, right? And RWA, it had a lot of good moments, but for whatever reason, things happen and people looked at it and said, well, one individual was wrestling there and they kind of, laughed at it. But in the grand scheme of things, even him, it wasn't anything to do with him, but it comes here because you and all of the people in this match coming up, O'Malley, King Shock, and Vargas were at the top. You guys were at the top of that food chain in the Southern tier. And now it comes to a head. It comes to a head, and it all started in Rochester, New York.
Yeah. No, I mean, the four of us were the first crown champions, respectively, in our divisions.
Yep.
We had definitely some back and forth history there. There was a little bit of war with the Unwanted back then, even, and I was on the opposite side.
You were.
It's gonna come to an end, and this is where it's coming to an end. And like I said, behind the scenes, man, I have all the love for him. Like I said, there's some heat going on, so this isn't gonna be like brothers fighting. This is gonna be a fight. This is gonna be four people trying to hurt each other, and I feel like that's on my. It is what it is,
Right.
I'm not saying I'm frustrated in that aspect because, man, we take care of each other. We travel with each other. He's a little funny with the way he operates and stuff. We do a title match and then we get granted time off, and we do another title match and we get granted more time off. And we've had conversations about that. I like wrestling. I don't. It's not about partying all the time, you know what I mean?
Well, you're one of these guys that comes on here, right? Over the past couple of years, there are certain individuals like an Anthony Steele, let's say, or other names, and they need to go on a half an hour tirade, or they need to talk about what's important to them. You're not that. You're one of these guys that just wants to go out there in the ring and unleash your own havoc. And nothing wrong with anybody that wants to talk on here. It certainly makes life interesting, but you're not one of those talkers. You're not one of these guys that goes out there and does that. You're more about going out there in the ring and showing what you have in this second run in your career, which, as I stated, it goes back to Rochester, New York, the RWA, and you can watch some of that here, right here in this link. And to me, it might be personal, but you're going to have to, at the very least, separate some of that going into next week. I mean, people will find out and they'll see for themselves, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And I sure my partner's got plans for the after party, and I might have plans too, So
but you guys have been traveling together, it goes to RWA, WSW, home, Shocky's house party.
everywhere.
Some of you have done TF Crew. I mean, so it's
even
WCW.
if we weren't on the card together.
But that's what I think makes this match unique, in the sense that everybody certainly has a unique match coming up here next week. But the four of yous, the last 2.5 years, we go back, because again, this is where it actually is personal, because it intertwines the man you're looking at. Because I remember the little idea of RWA, and I was like you guys. I was like, yeah, I was gung-ho, and this is where it all starts. This is really where you go back. It started 2.5 years ago, and maybe it ends next week on March 1st. It could be. I mean, but your journeys, there's no other match, I think, in terms of four people or even multiple people that have gone promotion after promotion to where they are to get to their prospective matches. I mean, they're all fantastic matches. I mean, I'm not even going to ask you about Tyson Spade and Joe Starr, especially after what happened here last week, or even what happened tonight on Vortex. You know, Zero and Surge have a history. Savage and Leonidas have a history. Jake and Gabe, I ain't going there. But you four have promotion after promotion, you know?
This is probably the angriest show ever. Like, if you look at the card.
Everybody's got personal grudges. Everybody's got grudges. But the four of yous, and I'll put the poster back up here in a minute, it's four that go promotion after promotion, state after state. And I think that this is what makes this match most unique here coming up.
I mean, there are belts. They're not theirs. I don't know what the fuck their problem is. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to come in and like hot shot and get title shots right away and not think that I'm going to put up a fight. That's crazy.
Well, they pretty much came right away and addressed it in a promo video last week. It was, you know, very dark. It was very, you know, what I remembered them in Rochester. And, you know, that.
It was very, very, you're like that you're not wrong. That was like a slap in the face. That was like something from the past right now. You know what I mean? That you're 100% correct on that.
Shockey is a veteran like you. Vargas just was in Texas. Do you think that what they're trying by going back to the past, thumbing their noses at you and your tag team partner, that's for them the strategy that's going to work in terms of getting both of yous off your game next Saturday?
I mean, it's just going to, like I said, it's just going to turn it into a fight. And it's allowed to be a fight. The rules pretty much say go nuts.
It's a hardcore tornado match. I mean, wouldn't it on paper, though, favor you at the very least? Because this is your style. This is what you do. I mean, so, like, you know.
The funny thing about hardcore is the rule set means that I can bring whatever I want.
Right, and we know what you like. You like tables. You like ladders. You like thumbtacks. You like, you know, even like power drills. You like all different types of stuff that are what would make you the favorite here in this match.
I'm protecting those titles. You know, like it's me and my boy. You know, we're gonna defend our titles with everything we have. Like I said, there might be some weirdness there right now, but
is there any regrets going into this match? Is there any regrets?
It's cool. No, this is gonna be cool. Like when it's all said and
that's
done,
good. I mean,
when it's all said and done, man, like I said, it's just four New Yorkers beating the shit out of each other.
Which is what makes this match exciting to me. And I'm going to put your Instagram handle up in a minute because it's four New Yorkers. And what do we know about us New Yorkers? You know, we're thick skinned, we're tough. You know, we go against the grind. We, you know, certainly beat to our own drum. And that's what all four of yous have been really these last few years, whether it was places in RWA where, you know, Torrance Banks, who I know is in the chat, we were talking about it. And RWA got, I think, overlooked, kind of like New Yorkers sometimes. We almost don't get maybe the end of the stick that everybody else does. We think about what you guys have done elsewhere. You know, we think about home with Shockey and Vargas, creating home because they were unwanted. And now it's led some of you guys to WTW, TF Crew. And now here in a company right now that's red hot, that has had show after show that's topped the other. And this show coming up here might top all of them combined. And this company's just getting started this year, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest show that they have to offer.
Absolutely. The last fight, listen, All Out War had 30-something people. Listen, in the All Out War, right? And I know some of us were here in the chat last week. There was almost 40 people on YouTube alone watching it. So there's a lot of demand right now for NEW. There's a big demand right now to see what this match and the rest of the card is.
I thought I was going to fucking win that. You have no idea how hard I fought in that match.
You did, but then you saw, and I'll put it up in a minute, but then you saw the
I,
guys, the
I
home guys
felt like
made
a
a home in that
lifetime.
Rumble, and
Felt like a
they kind of
lifetime.
looked at you a little bit, and that had to be, again, something that got under your skin.
It felt like a lifetime I was in that match. That's all I'm saying. And I mean,
You were in there a long time. There's no question about that. I mean, there's certainly, no questions.
there's, NEW has its own toxicity running rampant through the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's you know what? I got to be honest, and this is where
that was the
every
first.
wrestling company's got their own issues. Everybody's got something in life, right? That's the way I look at it.
Like,
it wouldn't be wrestling, right?
Facts. Yeah. I mean, the tag team titles belong to another group probably, and I'm sure that like what happened to me in the Rumble was a result of the fact that I'm a tag team champion. That's my opinion on the whole scenario. Because I was in there for.
You were in there a long time. You were one of the longest, participants. We see you right there coming in, and you obviously came in, and you were number 5 out of an 18-person field, and you definitely, came in strong. You hung in there as long as possible. You were you were like the Gunther a few years ago of the Rumble. In terms of how long you lasted,
I wasn't that long, but I mean, it was easily
Well,
22 minutes.
Well,
so.
for NEW purposes, I mean, what else could I compare it to? I mean, I'm trying to, talk about the match and where it was, and I mean, but you were there. You put a lot of fight in, and you've got to forget about what happened here and get ready for next weekend.
There was times in that match where I thought it was mine, man. Like, it just felt right. So many times it just felt right. I don't know. I just felt like I was, you know what I mean? I was very much on the defensive, very much ready to be offensive after that.
Well, what was it in the Rumble where you were able to last as long as you were? Because kind of it's fitting, right? As we're here with Stefan Havok, one half of the NEW Tag Team Champions. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Also, in about 35 minutes or so, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, King's X frontman bass player Doug Pinnick, the Doug Pinnick, will be with me live talking about their own show 2 weeks now where they're opening for Tool. Very exciting thing. We'll talk about that, but we're here with one half of the NEW Tag Team Champions. But, Stefan, talk to me, though, in the Rumble. What made it where you were able to last as long as you were able to?
There's 2 things that I do in a Rumble that I think is important. You rest on the side, like stay away from people, almost hide, like a spider, crawl into a corner, get your breath, fight in the middle.
And he pointed at you. He did. There he goes.
Yes, he pointed right at me, and he's gonna come right at me.
Well, I mean, you guys also have history in the Riot in the Ring.
And I'm in a fight now. You know what I mean?
Like, I see it. He's hitting you.
I said, the locker room, the before the show started, the ruckus, the bullshit that I was just sitting there listening in on. It is what it is.
You can't change the past, right? You can only
you can't. But you can defend your titles and you can come out on top.
Well, what has it meant to you these last few months? I've asked this to you before, but where you are now, right now, going into next Saturday, what does that mean to you to hold those tag team championships?
I mean, I know it's weird because I like what's been going on in NEW. I feel like me and him have been doing very well as a tag team. I've personally have had 2 singles matches if you count last year's Riot in the Ring in NEW.
Right.
Yep. And I came out on the losing end of both.
Right. Yep. You had one of
tag team. Yep. As far as tag team, right off the get-go, winning number 1 contenders. right off that, winning the tag team, defending the tag team, and now coming into probably the biggest match ever with those tag team titles. So yeah, they mean a lot. But I mean, me and when we're driving together and stuff, like I talk about it all the time. Like I'm a singles competitor. I have had 9 titles behind me. One more singles title makes it a 10. You know what I mean?
10's a big number, right? 10's
something that I want. That's kind of like a hang up shoes kind of thing. Those are the things that I'm looking at my age. Is like where I want to, you know what I mean? What do I want to do next? Where do I want to be? What do I want to have underneath me? You know what I mean? I never saw myself as a tag guy. I mean, it's just we had the same area code. We came together, you know what I mean? And they're just like, here you go. And we were boys, so it made sense. And I've enjoyed it. I'm gonna fight by his side. You watch the last match, man. You know I love the man. Like I hug him every time. I hug him every time we win. You know, like.
Well, you guys, it's it's the 716 and the 518, and I mean, you guys represent. Is it territorial also from that vantage point because they're upstate? You're, again, sort of in the Hudson Valley southern tier. Definitely the middle of the state. Those that may not know New York, I know it's New York lingo, but I mean, like is there that?
So that's like one of the things about the Unwanted. For them to come in and take those titles and bring them back to Buffalo is kind of their thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely something they would do. They've
done it elsewhere. I mean, they've been extremely successful. I mean, Vargas just went to Texas. I mean, Shockey,
Luke Raven was here. Took home that title. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yes, I had Vargas on here right before it, and he was very steadfast on what he was going to do. And
so coming to Massachusetts, knowing that me and my boy, call that place home, them being outsiders, even though they've been showing up here and there, like that's their thing. And that,
I mean, they don't care about that. They don't care where they are. They
will literally come in, beat us down, and take those titles because that's what the Unwanted do. Like, so, but I just never expected like the target to be like me and Rob. You know what I mean? Like I've watched them.
But what couldn't you say though? But conversely,
it's not like a New York clique, but kinda,
But or you could conversely say, why wouldn't they? Because we're all from the same state, and sometimes we want to see who's the best of the state. Maybe you conversely could say, well, that was right in front of you guys.
I feel like that was what was going on backstage, is who's the better team.
But we see that all the time in wrestling or in sports. People want to see, look, I have Doug Pinnick on here in 28 minutes, right? His band would go, he was talking about when we have the interview aired that, there were bands that would watch his band and he's the opening band. And, do you blow a band off the stage and they have to follow you up? And some people believe in that stuff. Other people say, it doesn't matter. But maybe it does matter. I'm not a wrestler. You guys are, we're all there. But I hear different things just from talking to people here. And, obviously even from the legendary Doug Pinnick, in a little while. So maybe that's all it is.
The amount of relief I got when I saw my boy Rob come into this match, man. Oof.
Well, Rob, there he is, and he's moving around and he's, jumping around and definitely giving around a house of pain. And, you guys are the tag team champs for a reason. And I know that the Unwanted is here. I'm going to get to the chat in a few minutes. But you guys, definitely have held your own. And we're going to find out if this run continues, or is it a storybook Cinderella run where the clock strikes midnight? That's what we're going to find out. I mean, some people would say that you guys, the 518, it's been just a Cinderella run. Others would say, no, these guys are the real deal, and they're going to continue this run, and they're exactly what NEW is, and we'll find out, I guess, who's right and who's not. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean,
Yeah,
we'll
I mean, we'll definitely find out.
that's all we can do in life is, find out. But obviously, let's get to
It's
some
what we
people.
do. We're fighters again. We fight for prizes.
Let me ask you though one more question, and I know it's announced you're in the riot in the ring. They're announced in the riot in the ring. Regardless of the outcome here, next Saturday, what's that going to be like?
Um, I hadn't really thought of that. That's a big deal,
It's
actually.
coming up. It's three. You know what? We're almost in March. Actually, it's 4 months from tomorrow. Is the riot in the ring, and it's not that far away. I remember we were speaking about it first at the end of the year. I think in 24 you came on here, and now it's coming up closer. The clocks are starting to go back
Uh,
soon, and
there's any animosity after Saturday? Well, I guess we'll find out and riot.
Well, I
I'm
mean, it's going to start a riot
I've always been a kind of like take each day as it goes
one
kind of
day at
guy.
a time. I
That's
agree.
why
But there
like
is that possibility you and Shock could be out there again. It could be a rematch. Could be, certainly to finish whatever happens here and what happens after March 1st. I mean, I don't know what these matches will be like. I mean, nobody
we're
knows.
not told either. We were given nothing. We're just
Okay.
we're finding out who's in the riot just like everybody else does. I probably annoyed NEW management. See, I said I don't talk to them, but for this I did because I was just like waiting and waiting and waiting. Like, I'm not, please, please, please say that I'm going to be in it this year, please, because I really wanted to be in it this year. So I'm very glad to be a part of that. Yeah, I mean, Mickey's in it.
Yep. Shocky's in it. And obviously we're gonna find out. And let me get to some people here in the chat. I mean, let me do that. Let me take this off the screen because I know we're gonna. Oh, there's Torrance Banks, by the way. I don't know how you feel about.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, New York.
Well, there he goes. We'll have to find out. But what do you think about Torrance Banks in NEW? Actually, it's a good point.
I so like I said, I feel like right. I don't know. I mean, they're all boys, so maybe his heat is their heat and all this other thing. But I feel like we get along still. Um, I was happy to see him there. You know what I mean? Knowing that they were gonna be there, I was excited. Like before they got there, I was excited. You know what I mean?
So when they came in, right? When they came in as announced, originally you were very excited to be reunited
Hell
with all the
yeah,
guys.
definitely, 100%, 100%. But but like I said, I mean, there's probably like there's some shit there too. Like it goes back 2 years. There's
Yeah,
this
I mean, you know what?
other,
Listen,
so
I spoke about it with Torrance, and it's so ironic, right? If you would have asked me 2.5 years ago, when John called me and said we have this idea, you were involved in it called the RWA, and 2.5 years later, almost, we're talking about a company in Massachusetts, and you guys are all at the center of one of the biggest shows in that company's
you
history,
know you know
wrestling history.
what RWA did?
What?
A good chunk of that talent, it ignited a spark in it.
Well, I think you look back.
And
I
when there
said with
was no
Frank,
more
yeah.
RWA, that spark wasn't dead in any of them. And that, you know what I mean? That's
But I
what
think you look back on it, it's gonna age
I feel like
better.
ignited a spark in a lot of us. And that's what I don't know. It's just there was something, and it's not like it didn't do well either. Like the views were for it being a baby company, the views
Yeah, the
were
views were
hitting.
there. I think if you look back, the views, the subs. Listen, there was definitely. I watched it from time to
It
time. I
was
mean,
on a rise. It was
it
fun
was
to
there. I think if it would have been consistent more in the uploads and different things. I think I remember on this platform some people looked and scoffed because of one individual, but I think that that's an unfair
yeah,
assumption.
and he really
He
didn't
didn't.
really have much to do there other than
No, he had like 2
like
matches, and it really wasn't
he
anything
like
to do with
lived there.
him.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
and it wasn't his. It really, honestly, I think even I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I think sometimes he even gets a bad rap in some cases because he wasn't. It wasn't anything to do with what that company turned into. You know what I'm saying? And I think that
no,
you know
it stopped because like of a lot of reasons. But
there was a lot there.
tell
But
you
I
one,
just think,
that
but
individual wasn't
I just
really part of
But
it.
I just think that this match, it's so fitting to me because it's a personal one for me. Not that who wins or loses, but I've been thinking the last couple weeks about Rochester. I've been thinking a lot about 2.5 years ago when John gave that call, and John, I never forget, wanted to get a bunch of us on a group call, and I missed the call because I was out working, and it was like, I think some of you guys were on that call. No, I'm really,
I
this is like,
remember that. That's
yeah, I mean, I remember it was. I think
crazy.
you were on there. Vargas was on there. I think Shockey was on there. So it goes back. Tiger Smith was on. I think the call, who was a character in itself. So like, it was there, and I just want people though in the meantime to go to NEW's YouTube page. Please give them a sub. I can't stress enough that I'm excited regardless about what's at stake here next Saturday. Star Clash 7, one of the biggest shows in underground wrestling history. At NEW is going to be a center. There have been so many great matches. Jake Dvorak is here next Thursday. He's going to talk about Gabe Sayers. You better believe that. And, Friday, I've received word that Mr. Vargas is going to be here on Sportswire. He's going to be here. He's going to be here the eve of Star Clash 7. And he's going to talk about this match. And he's going to be here. He's returning to Sportswire. So
Okay.
he wanted to tune in, and I'm sure he's going to give his take. But in the meantime, let me get to some people here in the chat while we have a little more time. And Zilla is here. Zilla definitely wanted to say hello. Thank you for that. Seth Mercer is here. Yes, how you doing, Seth? Good to see you. Watching at home, yes. My buddy, Mr. Texas Red, Mr. Rocky, who I think I'm going to see tomorrow night when I have Hunter of CPF. And thank you, Rocky, for your support. And the TPW partnership with the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. Rob Ryan of Wrestling Zero. How you doing there, my man? If you want to watch the old RWA stuff, hit the sub button for Wrestling Culture X. They're a few subs away from 350. Let's do that. We're certainly doing, I think, interesting today. Torrance Banks, who was the birthday boy, or Benjamin, if you want to call him at NEW, has got his own war with Hiroshima coming up, and Shima's got plenty to say, I'm sure, about that, but he'll save it in the ring. How you doing? And there he is. The Unwanted is coming, baby, and he's wanted here next Friday on Sportswire. And Vargas was good, my dude. Well, in home, they're not necessarily dudes, but in here, yeah, this match is going to go. It's going to go hard. There's no question that this match is going to be as hard as my
It
interview
really
with
is.
Doug Pinnick. Kyle Shelby, who's going to be in the riot in the ring in a few months, says his name is Stefan. Thanks for adding him to the chat. Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. And Vargas says that you're going to regret stepping in that ring pretty much. But I see what you did there. You went like this. We'll have to find out. Yep. I think Stefan's doing as good as he can. Il Drago, who has been a topic this past week, just wanted to say hello to everybody. He's got his own match and his own war to deal with tomorrow in the IMF. And Starcade, Star Clash, same difference. My point stands. There you go. Of course, you need a tag team to get the job done by yourself. You can't hack it. So obviously, he's trying to get in your head before next Saturday. He's obviously trying that. But he'll be here Friday, and I'm sure you'll be here and you'll be listening, and you'll probably give back the same things, I would imagine. Pretty much.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Pretty much. I mean, look, that's just how it goes. Nathaniel Rage, who is a Nathaniel 3 belts in the promo wrestling world in West Virginia, like to say Devil is here. And as I stated, he did not want the 716 and the 518 to be compared. The Unwanted is the better team. So he's obviously, going to state his side of the facts next week. We're standing on business at Star Clash outside of NEW gang, but business is business. And I pretty much announced that he'll be here. Thank you for that, Mr. Drago. Who else we have here in the chat? What's your view on death matches or hardcore? Or is it about me or you? I mean, I'm
my views. They're fun.
Okay. Well, thank you. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm all wrestling matters. I don't know if we're asking, but Andrew White from WTW is here, and we love WTW, and that's also a stop that you guys have history in as well, all four of you.
Yeah.
You know,
I know. Well, me and my partner went there. I don't. If they went there, we didn't go at the same time. We were in New Jersey at the same time. Well, not all.
WSW, yeah, WSW. Well, I mean, you know what? I obviously,
Like I said, we've been everywhere. We've been crossing paths for a while, so it's probably this is when I really think about it. This is probably due.
when you look back right now on everything you've gone through, will your career be the same after this?
I don't think so.
Why?
There's something. If this match is too much, I'm gonna fucking snap. Like I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, we're going to certainly find out. If you want to follow Stefan Havok, you can also check him out on Instagram as well. And he has an Instagram page. If you'd like to, check him out and give him a follow, you can certainly do that here on Instagram. I'll put his link up here. I'll put the YouTube link up for what used to be RWA. And Zilla says, death matches and hardcore matches make me feel uncomfortable. Well, guess what, Zilla? You've watched a few on Sportswire. You seemed fine with them. But we enjoy all forms of wrestling here on this platform, and that's why we love to see WTW back in action next month. And Stefan Havok's going to be in action coming up next Saturday for NEW defending those tag team championships. So is there anything else that you want to say toward your opponents? I mean, it's pretty much like you've pretty much talked about the personal history. You've talked about the beefs. I mean, it's,
Well, I like NEW.
Yeah,
as far as
do.
the way I see it is, they're trying to come in, they're trying to take those titles, and they're trying to take them out to Buffalo with them. That's not.
But everybody, but going back off,
that ain't a good look. That ain't a good look.
But you know what though? But Tyson Spade made a point last week about all these outsiders coming in, and theoretically, all four of you are outsiders. If you think about the core of NEW, right? All four of yous really aren't NEW core members.
You're right.
Theoretically, an outsider, no matter
and
what.
I'm not like I say that, like I like to call that my home fed and stuff like that, but I'm still finding my place there. I'm still, you know what I mean?
Well, unfortunately, you haven't had a home. I mean, we thought RWA was going to be a home for a long time, and and that's a common theme sometimes in wrestling. You've been here in NEW now for a little while. But I mean, the point could be that all four of you are outsiders, and I guess who's less of an outsider? I don't know what to say on that.
Well, I respect the NEW Tag Team Champions, and they're safe in our hands.
Are you saying that they would not respect them as much?
As far as NEW is concerned, they're safe in our hands. They're not being, you know what I mean, shipped way out to Buffalo. I feel like putting titles in their hands is like giving them a hostage. You know what I mean? It's not.
But in wrestling, isn't that though? Some would say. Now again, I don't know. I'm not a wrestler.
Business is business. You heard what he's. You know what I mean?
That's what he said. Business is business, and we see this all the time in wrestling. There's stories famously. Look, Bret Hart was the WWF champion and signed with WCW, and he got screwed. And looking back, maybe that was the right call from a business standpoint. I mean, Jeff Jarrett was the Intercontinental champion and signed with WCW. I mean, there's litany who's of stories of wrestlers that could have walked elsewhere. And if you're a business, you have to do what's right for business. And ultimately, business is business. According to Mickey Vargas, he'll tell his side of the story next Friday. You're telling yours, and somebody's going to want these tag team championships. And no matter what happens, it's going to be a match a lot of people are watching, I think.
I'm going to put everything I have into it. I know that.
And I wouldn't expect anything less. And if you'd like to follow NEW, you can most certainly do that here. Check him out on Instagram. Check him out on YouTube. We're going to put up RWA YouTube link up here. If you'd like to watch some of that old footage, you're welcome to do that. Check out here again. This is the NAW page where you can watch more. Also, Stefan Havok's Instagram page. Check him out there. And again, also here in about, I'd say 10 or so minutes. Again, if you'd like to tune in, I would appreciate it. I do have on the one and only Mr. Doug Pinnick of King's X, who is playing with Tool 2 weeks from today. So that's a kind of cool feat to get him here. He's playing at the Whiskey A Go-Go. If you're a heavy metal fan, you'll know what the history of the Whiskey A Go-Go is. And his band is headlining that coming up on March 23rd. And he'll stop by on Sportswire Radio with us. So looking forward to all that. So I'm going to pass the baton to you because I know the talking at this point. Vargas is going to have his say. You're going to respond to it. We're going to see what happens next Saturday. I'm going to pass the baton to you in the meantime. If there's anything else you want to say going in to next Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, like a few years ago, I could say that I met a bunch of guys. Maybe even like a few months ago, I could say I had a few brothers. I'm gonna fucking hurt one of you. I'm gonna hurt both of you. I don't know what's been going on. I don't know why you think it's okay to just come over here and push our buttons. I don't really give two shits what's been going on with my partner. Like, he wants to party all the time. Let the fucking guy party. We're winning. We're winning. You coming to New? You coming to Massachusetts? You're coming to... I'm telling you, man, this match is going to push me.
Well, I mean,
this match is gonna push me. It's the biggest match ever here, you know.
Yeah, it's Star Class 7. It's gonna be a big turnout next Saturday. NAW's been on fire lately. I mean, it's been banger after banger after banger, and you guys are gonna bang each other literally, and and that's where it's the irony of it. You guys were all champions in RWA. You guys have all gone place after place. It's New York, the Battle of New York, even some would say. NEW New York. It's the battle of who's the true New Yorker or the true New York tag team. You think about, New York wrestling as a whole in this circuit. I mean, you guys are at the pinnacle of it. The New York underground wrestling scene. People, when they look at the top of the list, who was some of the top names? It's Stefan Havok. It's Mickey Vargas. It's King Shock. Torrance Banks, who's here, Onyx, all guys, guys, your tag team partner, certainly. I mean, it's a list of names when we think about our state. And these are the people that are at the top of the list. And we're going to see who's the true, head of New York, or the king of New York, King Shocky, New York, then the Empire State, and the 518 versus the 716, upstate versus the southern tier, it's all going to come to a head. I mean, that's really, I don't know more else I could say other than we're going to find out. We're going to find out. We're going to certainly find out. And, if you are here, I know Joe Starr is in that. He's got his own personal. I'm not even going there. I'm not even asking you about Joe Starr. Yeah. I'm not asking
I'm not about to walk to Buffalo or anything.
And Jake Dvorak is here Thursday night. I'm not going to ask you about Gabe Sayers, but I will ask those that I'm going to be here back in 8 minutes with King's X frontman and bass player, Mr. Doug Pinnick, a man that played at Woodstock, a man that played open for bands like Pearl Jam, AC/DC, Dream Theater, Motley Crue, the Scorpions. If you're a heavy metal fan, he's playing 2 weeks from now on a Tool 3-day Tool in the Sand concert. He's opening it up. Tool's the headliner, all 3 shows. Primus is on it, CKY, Coheed and Cambria. Probably one of the most influential bass players of all time is here on Sportswire Radio. Great honor. I want to thank Worldwide Entertainment, the manager of the band, Alex Ford, for reaching out. It was a great honor. And, it was an honor to have you here. And I'm sure Jake's going to give his side of the story Thursday. And Joe Starr is always watching. Like I said, I'm not asking you about Joe Starr. You got your own personal issues. And Mickey Vargas will be here next Friday night. It is confirmed he will be here probably in the evening, and he'll talk about what his side of the story is. And I hope you join over with me on the Sportswire Radio YouTube page in about 7 or 8 minutes. We'll be here with Doug Pinnick. And Champ, always good to see you. I'm sure we'll talk after this match, and JoJo Star Wars. Yeah, well, not quite. We got King's X coming on here. I see the JoJo Siwa reference, but we got King's X coming up here. But close enough. I'm sure we'll share a story about Pantera, Metallica, and other bands. And if you like that, join me. Otherwise, I'll be here tomorrow with a bunch of guys from Promo Wrestling. But Champ, I wish you a lot of luck. I'm going to definitely be looking forward to the match. I know Mickey's going to be here next Friday, and I'll hear his side of the story, and I'm sure you'll be here for it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I actually look forward to next Friday.
Yeah, I hope so too. But that is one half of the NEW Tag Team Champions, Mr. Stefan Havok himself. He'll be in action next Saturday in the historic NEW Star Clash 7, defending those Tag Team Championships against Unwanted, Buffalo's Unwanted, Mickey Vargas, and King Shock. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally. We're all wrestling matters. And again, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, Doug Pinnick of King's X to join me on Sportswire Radio, a must-watch interview. Also, Stefan Havok Instagram, give him a follow. NEW Instagram, give him a follow. Stefan will be in the Riot in the Ring, and we'll talk about that next time. But until then, I'll see everybody in a few minutes, and please support NEW. Check them out on YouTube as well. And also, Zilla said she's doing good. Thank you, Zilla, for tuning in. Zilla, I know I'll see you here for Doug Pinnick in about 6 minutes. But until then, I'll see everybody in a few minutes. And Stefan Havok, always good to be with you. And I'll see you soon.